Hello everyone and welcome. Thanks again for joining us for today's webinar about features and functionality for Summon. I'm Brent Cook, I'm the product manager for Summon, and we have a variety of features we'd like to go over today. These features are ones that we recently did a survey about via the listserv through Illuna. And ultimately, the results we got back, these were some features that people were very interested in, but that a lot hadn't used or hadn't thought about or knew how to activate. So we're going to take some time to review these things. And that includes how to do a journal title search from a journal link, go over a few things with Topic Explorer, such as related items there for Topic Explorer and the ordering of items for Topic Explorer and how you can customize it. We'll talk a little bit about links to Unpaywall and what you can do there. I'll go over what participant record prioritization and resource linking prioritization are and let you know how you can modify those. And then finally, we'll cover the database filter, which is something we got with our move to the Central Discovery Index, or CDI, at the beginning of the year. A few things to note for today's presentation. I have structured it so that within the PowerPoint, which we will send around or we'll post after the webinar, it does have screenshots of what each piece looks like, the front end and what the functionality looks like, the back end and what the configuration looks like, or the screen to do that configuration, and then some notes to describe what the feature is, anything you might need to remember about it, and then how to configure it so that hopefully afterwards you can easily use this as a guide to set these things up or explore them. I also want to note that the preview environment is available so that if you want to try these out before you put them into production, that is available at all times. It may be unavailable occasionally as we do modifications to it. It's not 24/7, 100% availability, but for the most part it is there. And if you do end up trying to use the preview environment and you find that it's not working at that time, just wait 5 to 10 minutes and it should be fine. And then finally, I am going to switch back and forth between some PowerPoint slides and a live Summon site to show you some of this functionality. My connection has been fairly good this morning, but it may slow down a little bit, and so I may swap back and forth between the screens. Thanks for your patience. So let's start off by talking about journal title search from a journal link, what that is and what that looks like. So if you go on Summon and you do a search on a title of a journal or an acronym, if there's an appropriate match, we will show this link that you can click on, and that will constrain any searches to that journal title. In order for this to work, it needs to be a good match to the journal title or one of the acronyms that we have listed as an alias for one of these. And sometimes you can get it, sometimes, especially with shorter titles, it won't show up. So we've put in another way to access and use this functionality. This is actually something that came across the idea exchange shortly after we posted. And that's the idea of what if we made it so that you could click on the title like you have right here in the second result and use that to activate that functionality. So clicking on it would make that journal title search show up at the top. Now I'm going to swap over to my browser and show you how that works. So here's an instance of Summon. I search on New England Journal of Medicine. It starts to refresh. And then, as you can hopefully see here in a moment, there is a link at the top that I can click on to constrain things to search just within the New England Journal of Medicine. And while that's rendering, again, my connection can be a little slow. You can see one here. I've already done that physics search. I click on Journal of Fluid Mechanics. That refreshes it. You can see at the top already it says search within the Journal of Fluid Mechanics and a clear button. Over here, I can do the same thing with the New England Journal of Medicine. I can click right there and have that turn that top box into a search within the journal search box. And again, each subsequent search that I do now will be constrained to that journal. Here it's the Journal of Fluid Mechanics until I either hit clear or start a completely new search. And again, that can be activated simply by clicking on that title, Journal of Fluid Mechanics, and for this example. Configure that on the back end. You'd go into your admin console for Summon. It's under Settings, Advanced Search, and then if you look down here at the bottom, you have both ways to do it, which is the first way, the New England Journal of Medicine example I used, which is the Search Within Journal widget. That functionality or link may appear if you have this turned on. And then to get the journal title itself to execute it, just turn on this functionality right here, Journal Title Search from Journal Link. Turn that on, and you will have that functionality ready to go. Again, you'll find that right here under Settings, Advanced Search. And again, we will include these slides so that it'll help you understand or follow the instructions on how to do this. And again, it will be constrained to searching within that journal until the user clicks clear or new search. Next, let's take a few moments to talk about related items for Topic Explorer. As you can see here in these two screen grabs, we've got related topics for pointillism, a variety of painters' names that are listed as related topics, and then for over here for particle physics, other types of physics, atomic physics, condensed matter physics, all related topics that you can have display as part of Topic Explorer. So I'm going to flip over to the demo real quick so I can show you how you can use this screen to configure which elements are enabled and disabled and how those work. Excuse me. So again, you do a search like this one on pointillism, you can easily go over here to related topics to find out more by clicking on these people's names and executing a new search. Here's the example that I have for physics. Over here you'll see the Vincent van Gogh example. To configure these, if you want to make related topics show up in your instance of Topic Explorer, go into the admin console, click on Settings, which is the first screen you come to, and then go down to Topics on the left-hand side there. You'll get this tile where you can do some work on what is enabled or disabled as part of related topics. So here I have it disabled. I would just move it here to the left-hand side, scroll down to the bottom, make sure that I click Save Settings, wait about 5 minutes, and that should be live in either the preview environment if I'm taking a look at it beforehand, or in production environment if I'm doing it there. A few things to remember about related topics. It's based on metadata from the encyclopedia resources we use. So we extract the various topics and subtopics and relationships that are within that data. We also take a look at authoritative subject headings, things like the Library of Congress subject terms and the variants there to help us in identifying matching topics, both in the initial matching of your search term to Topic Explorer, as well as related to those related topics. Again, to modify that, it's under Settings and Topics. But as you may have noticed there while we were looking at it, there's more that you can do with Topic Explorer than just turn on and off or enable or disable those various elements of Topic Explorer. You can certainly do that, as you can see within these three examples here. We have one that has all four elements, the encyclopedia entry, suggested librarian, related topics, and research guides. And then the middle one, which just has the encyclopedia entry and related topics, and then another example there on the right-hand side. So we'll go back to the screen to show you how you can do that work. So let's take a look here at the controls again. It's the same area, settings, topics. Everything's enabled here at the bottom. If you also like to change the order, again, you can enable or disable anything you like. If you'd like to change the order, like for example, the default is encyclopedias at the top. But say now that a lot of us are trying to access these materials remotely, both our patrons and ourselves, perhaps we want the suggested librarian to be at the top. You can also modify your topic encyclopedia entry priority. There are a variety of resources that are available for you to use, all listed here. I have the majority of them enabled already. If I'd like to enable Japan Knowledge or Wikipedia, I can just drag and drop that tile over here. You do notice, hopefully you notice that you can drop it anywhere in the list. If I want to make it the top priority, then I put that at the top. If I want to make it at the last priority for ones that are enabled, I put it at the bottom. So when there is identified a topic match, if there is an encyclopedia entry, then the system will go through and look and see if there's one for Oxford University Press now, and then Encyclopedia Britannica, all the way down to Wikipedia. And then if there's not an encyclopedia entry, that Topic Explorer still will display any other elements that it has, such as suggested librarian or recommended research guides. Once you make those changes, enabling the pieces that you want and ordering them in the order of preference or in the order that you'd like to have them appear, again, scroll down to the bottom, hit save, and in about 5 minutes, your change will be live in either the preview environment or in the live environment, depending on which one you're working in. Okay. So again, Here's where you do your prioritization around the resources for the encyclopedia entry. Here's where you actually enable and disable and decide the order of the things you'd like to have displayed for Topic Explorer. And then one final piece I'd like to highlight is this control right here, the ability to display topics at either the top or the bottom of that right-hand column. So in looking at my example over here for topics, you can see that I have some COVID-19 update information, remote access and help update information. Those are custom panels. Using the control I just showed you, you can decide, does Topic Explorer show up at the top and the custom panels at the bottom, the way this is, or have that reversed with the custom panels at the top and Topic Explorer at the bottom. And again, just right there is where you click that, change it to on or off to meet your preference. One more thing to note, in addition to how to configure things, is that for all those various resources for encyclopedia entries, if you do not have a subscription to a source, that source won't display. So if for some reason you don't have a subscription to Oxford University Press, then it would go to the next one and then one down below that. We do include Wikipedia because it is a free resource and it is available in a variety of languages, so hopefully that fills in where the others don't. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about Unpaywall. This is something we added at the end of last year. It's the ability to have links that go directly to a PDF for Unpaywall. In this example here on the screen, you can see right here on the second result, there is a direct link to PDF. Most of the links will go specifically to a PDF. Some may go to a landing page, but none should have a paywall or anything else blocking an individual's access to the content. Excuse me. So for example, looking at this link right here, I did a search. Second one has a direct link to PDF. I can click on that. It'll open a new window or a new tab, excuse me, and resolve to that PDF. Here's the PDF for that article, Deep Ocean Predation by High Arctic Cetacean. So to configure out that, there's a couple of different things that you can do. So first off, you want to turn on Unpaywall PDFs. So right here, it shows the display Unpaywall PDF control. Just turn that to on if you'd like that link to display. The default text for that is, and of course you hit save down here at the bottom and wait 5 minutes. The default for that text is the word PDF. In my example, I changed it to direct link to PDF. Perhaps you want to name it Unpaywall. Perhaps you have something else that you'd like to do. But for almost any phrase or words found in the Summon user interface, you can go to the Translations tab, which you can see right here displayed on the screen, for whatever language you're working with. And then you can go down and find the PDF. You can either type here into the filter and do PDF, or you can use your browser find functionality, which I have down there highlighted already. So I'm just going to go down and take a look at that. So here it is. This is the default text PDF. I've changed it to direct link to PDF. If I'd like, I can just click edit and make that whatever I'd like. So I could change that to Unpaywall if I'd like. I'm actually going to cancel that, not save that. And again, here's where you find that control for Unpaywall PDFs to turn it on, the link in the results. And then right here is where you're going to find that text to modify it to be whatever you'd like. And again, to make things simple for you to use this later, you can find all the instructions here about Unpaywall. Most links, again, take you directly to the PDF. One thing to note is that since Unpaywall isn't treated like an open access collection in Summon, some of the links will occur on records that aren't marked as open access, not many, but some. And you may find some Unpaywall links in results beyond your library's collection. Next, I want to talk a little bit about participant record prioritization. So participant record prioritization is appropriate for libraries using union catalogs in Summon or libraries with multiple locations. As you can see here, I've highlighted the library location facet that we have here on this example. What this feature does is it lets you specify which record appears in the main or prioritized record within a merged record. So the information being used in the display here, that would be based on whatever prioritized record you choose for participation. Again, modifying this in the admin console uses a similar construct for what you see for other pieces. You'll see the library locations here. All of those will be available in the Summon admin console if you have the library locations. Again, if you don't have library locations or you're not using the Union catalog, you may go into the screen and not have anything to be able to manage. And if you do happen to have multiple library locations and you've never gone in here and managed it, it's okay. You don't have to prioritize things in order for Summon to work and work fine. How it does work, though, is say you go in here and you decide that you want to put things from the medical center library as important, and so you're going to put that at the top. So any record with where you have multiple records merged, I should step back a moment and talk a little bit about match and merge. If you're not familiar with that, how we manage deduplication is that rather than just getting rid of other records and picking the best one, we will take all records we identify as being a similar record, and we use a variety of data fields to make those kind of connections. And we combine those participant records into a logical record or a record that contains all the metadata. And all that metadata is used for things like relevance algorithm and overall indexing. We use all that metadata. When it comes time to display, we pick one to display. This is how you decide which one of those records, if they are from this resource. So for example, I just moved the medical center library over to the top priority for the participant record. That one will be used if one exists within that logical record. If not, then we'll go down to the architectural library office and we'll use that record for the prioritization. If not, we'll go to the next one. If it turns out that we don't have any from those ordered, we'd move over to the unordered list and we would just pick at random which one is the best record for there. One of the benefits to that is that it does help with content neutrality. We're not preferring any particular source. We are giving you a way to get in here and control things. Again, there's where you do your ordered list. A few things to remember. Again, you have to have a Union catalog or multiple library locations in order for this to show up as something you can modify. Just drag and drop them the same way that we did other functionality and features. Make sure you scroll down and save and wait about 5 minutes for that to take effect. And again, when multiple records are merged, if one or more of those sources are in the ordered list, we will take the one with the highest priority for presentation. Next, I want to talk a little bit about resource link prioritization. And this refers to the links you have here for various resources that your patrons might find within Summon. Again, it's similar functionality to what we saw just before. You go in and you can manage the ordered and unordered list. You can drag things from unordered to ordered and then place them in priority. I'll switch over to my live demo real quick so you can see what that looks like. And again, I've got 5 that I've ordered and put those as priority. I can go down here and pick something else, like for example, I might just pick Bio 1, put that down here at the bottom. Perhaps I want it to be the 4th item, and then scroll down to the bottom and click Save, and that will make those priorities active. And basically one of the things to note, again, is that we will go through and use your chosen priority link resource for providing that link. And if there is not one from one of these items, and for some reason you have a resource that's being presented that doesn't fall within any of these orders, we will go to the unordered list and we will pull from there. Take a look and present them the best possible link, a direct link if possible. If none of those are available, then we will randomly select from any that might have a similar type of linking. And again, configuration can be found under Settings, Resource Link Prioritization. You drag and drop things to order them, put them in the ordered column, and put them in the order that you like. And again, if multiple records are merged, if one of those sources are ordered, the record with the highest priority will be presented. If they are not ordered and there are several records that have similar linking, then we will use a random selection based on rights to decide which one of those. And again, that's to maintain content neutrality and make sure we're not favoring any particular provider over another, unless you've prioritized it. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the database filter. This came about as part of our move to CDI in February of this year, the Central Discovery Index. And what that does is give you a facet that allows you to filter based on database ID or DBID. So if you use this facet, it returns only records in summon for that database as long as the collection uses DBID rights mapping. The number of database names returned for the facet is limited to the top 100 values. If you get more than 100, you run into usability and performance issues. Performance, it takes longer for things to load, especially with all the various facets you might have. Usability, the ability to scroll through and manage 100 different facet values is a lot, much less going beyond that. But again, I'll take a moment here to show you what I'm talking about. Right over here, you've got all these various ones that you can use. Like if I did Oxford bibliographies, that would refresh to the 1. In order to make this facet available to my end users, I would go into Settings, Facet, and then here you can see there's an enabled and disabled column. Databases here in the disabled column. If I want to make that active, I'd move that into the enabled column. I think it's important, but maybe I don't want it to be up so high, so perhaps I'm going to just put it here under Author. The order that all of the things are in the enabled column will be the order they show up in your user interface. So you can control that here as well. The other thing you control is whether they are expanded or collapsed. So again, I just filtered this down to one facet. As you can look here, the facet for this one database, the Oxford bibliographies. If you look over here on the right-hand side, content type, discipline, subject term, databases are all expanded. New records, author, and language are collapsed. Going back over here to the admin console, I can easily decide which ones start off expanded or collapsed by dragging and dropping here. And again, I go down here to the bottom and I hit save, and those changes will take effect in about 5 minutes. And here's where you'd make that change to make sure the database filter is active. And down at the bottom is where you make those changes for what's expanded and collapsed. And we will share these instructions when the webinar is over. Again, just as a reminder, it's based on the database ID or DBID. If a record doesn't have a DBID associated with it, then or a database doesn't have a DBI associated with it, then it will not show up in the facet. But that is a limited number of resources that we have that fall into that category. And again, we return the top 100 values in that facet. To turn it on or off, go under Settings and Facets. And again, you can do everything from enabling to disabling and deciding the order and determining what's expanded or collapsed by default. And that brings me to the end of our prepared slides. Thank you everyone for taking some time today to spend the 30 minutes with me and walk through these features and functionality. Again, we did the survey and we saw this as ones that had high interest, but not a lot of people had activated or turned these on. Please take a moment to try it out in your preview environment and share it with your colleagues and see if they might like any of this functionality added to your instance of Summon. And also, we'd like to do more sessions like this to be more supportive of you and make it easier for you to configure Summon while we're all doing a lot of this remote working. So please let us know if there's other features or functionality you'd like for us to do a quick tutorial on, or if there's anywhere you'd like for us to do a deep dive and provide more information. We'd be happy to line that up. And thanks again for taking your time.